my story starts at the beginning. I mean, the beginning, capital T, capital B, the beginning, what the Middle people referred to as the Nether. It was here that I grew up, hearing stories from our elders about the Middle and the End. They told us grand tales of these places, from the travels of our ancestors as they moved here from the End. They told us about the dragon and the obsidian pillars that kept it alive, and the once grand cities and skyships that our ancestors had built, now left abandoned to time. They told us about the Middle, with a sky so large and filled with light, much brighter than even the brightest glowstone, and a land so big and strange that life flourished and blossomed in ways they could only dream of. They met other creatures there too, the monsters of the dark, and groups of people kind of like us, a group of builders and survivors, without a dragon hovering in the sky above them. These are the people we call the Middle people. Unfortunately, even the Middle was not a safe place for our ancestors to stay. Water would fall at random from the sky so grand, and it acted as a poison against them. Their only refuge was to hide under trees and in caves until it would eventually stop. The Middle people saw our plight, and taught our ancestors how to build portals into yet another land, one they said held no water and no dragons. And here it was, the beginning, in all of its glory. Warmth radiates from every rock, and glowing mushrooms decorate the landscape. It was perfect. So here our ancestors stayed and lived and thrived. The portals still existed, and some Endermen would travel through them, but many just stayed here. Our elders told us to stay away from the portals until we were older, lest we become lost. There was one at the edge of our village, on the top of a cliff. I liked to play around it, thinking that none of the other kids knew about it. On a fateful day, one of the other children thought it would be funny to sneak up and push me through. I'd like to think they didn't know any better, or at least didn't fully grasp the consequences. That was the first time I saw the Middle, with a sky so grand and bright, and a land so large and green. It hurt my eyes at first. I was so used to the dim lighting from the glowstone and the lava of my home, but I grew used to it with time. I had a lot of fun that first day, learning the sensation of the wind and the joys of the grass that swayed in it. The flowers were beautiful and mesmerizing, painted in new colors that I'd only heard about in our stories. It wasn't until I tried to return back home that the situation I was in became clear. When the other kid pushed me through the portal, I had no idea where I was going, so the portal took me somewhere. When I tried to return, knowing what little I did about how the portals worked at the time, it didn't work. It took me back to the beginning, yes, but not my village. I was lost. I looked and searched and walked and wandered for what felt like days. I wasn't able to find anything familiar, or any people or creatures I knew. I returned back to the portal and entered it again, once again using what small amount of knowledge I had of their functions. And it worked. I stepped through and it took me back to the same place as before. I thought that maybe I had gotten a hang of it, and I tried to go back again. And again. And again. But it never brought me back home, only to that ashen landscape. I tried so many times that the portal began to crack, and slowly I came to terms with my situation. I tried one final time, and the portal cracked so far that I lost the doorway inside. It was the final push that I needed to move on. I decided then to make the most of the hand I was dealt here, and I decided to make my own new beginning, here in the middle. And so, with time, I made myself a place of new beginnings. Capital N, capital B, of course. Hi! I hope you enjoyed what you just watched. I had a lot of fun making it. For those of you who don't know who I am MetaHexel. I go by Meta most of the time. Some people call me Hexel for some spiciness, but whatever's fine, honestly. I stream on Twitch. That's where you can find me most of the time. Unless I'm working on a big-ass project like this that I just did. It'll go back to normal at some point, but yes, I'm usually on Twitch. So this video is in these like two little separate parts because I wasn't entirely sure what kind of application you were looking for. So I made both, just for fun, just for flavor, to cover all my bases. Yeah. So I'll go through some of the stuff that's on the form and I'll fill it out later and submit it and go do all that stuff. But as far as Minecraft goes, my specialty is building, specifically building large things. You can see some of the stuff in the background here. These are prototypes for things I've built in my hardcore world, including these little mushroom houses in the back here. There's also a lighthouse, if I turn around the correct way, that actually works. But yeah, I tend to build very large things. There's an aqueduct system in my hardcore world that is over 400 blocks wide, and at least, like, I think 40 blocks tall, when I checked last time, but yeah. So large things is what I tend to build. I do know enough about redstone to, figure it out, but more old school redstone. So don't hand me a honey block, do not hand me a slime block, I will just bounce on them. I've only semi-recently figured out how an observer works, so it's just mainly old school stuff. Yeah, so I hope you will consider me for the TreatySMP. I love the idea, honestly, just kingdoms and treaties and wars and that kind of interaction is love it. I hope to be a part of it. Yeah, I don't usually make videos, so I don't really have a video sign off, so I'll do my stream sign off instead. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, take whatever applies to you, and I will see you somewhere. Bye!